Hi, I'm Anne, and I'm the default cook in my home as well as a few corners of the internet. And today we are gonna brown some ground beef. If I could talk, I'm going to brown about 2/3 of this package. The other I'm going to mix up for meatloaf, and we're gonna have that tonight. The sell-by on this is today, so we are going to brown this. We could freeze it raw, but it is faster to work with on busy weeknights if I've already browned and drained it. Pulling it out of the freezer in that state makes taco nights, spaghetti nights, etc. so fast, so easy, and honestly, like drive-through level attainable. So first things first, we're gonna get out a knife. And we're just gonna eyeball it. If you need to be like super precise and get things exactly in thirds or by the pound, you can use a kitchen scale. I have one. I'm not using it today. And yes, my stove's a little dirty. People live here. So I'm gonna cut. And I didn't cut all the way through. I just cut a little bit, like a little 1-inch section. And now I'm gonna use that to rip open so that we don't end up with the plastic in the meat, because nobody wants that. Once it's open, then I'll cut through and separate out what we're not using. The rest of this is going to go in my pan. And we don't need any other ingredients. We're just browning our beef. We'll add seasonings when we turn it into something else. And of course, after you touch raw meat, wash your hands. Now that we've washed our hands, back over here with some kitchen tools, and I could just use a regular spatula or wooden spoon. I do happen to have like a little meat mashing type thing that helps break it up just a little easier. But a regular spatula or wooden spoon works fine too. Let me show you here. So as it cooks, just stir it, keep stirring it. It doesn't need to be constant, but we also don't want the bottom to burn. And we want to cook this until there's no pink left in it, because we do want it to be fully cooked, but we're not looking for it to get like crispy crisp. Because if it needs to crisp up, then we can do that in whatever dish we're going to use it in. Once you're not seeing any more pink in here, we're gonna move the meat to the side, and you might want a regular spatula for this, honestly, but it's up to you. And you'll see the fat kind of starts pooling in the open space that you make. And so now we tilt our pan down a little bit, and we take our paper towel. And be very careful with your fingers here, not to actually get your fingers into any hot grease. I am going to grab another spatula, or you could grab some tongs. It's also really handy to have like a kitchen spoon or a bowl somewhere that you can put these paper towels when they're done. The amount of paper towels you're going to need is going to vary based on how greasy the meat is. So this is an 80-20. I'm getting a little more than I usually get because I usually buy 85, but actually that's not true. I usually buy whatever's on sale. But that is a minimum. So when meat is 80%, that's a minimum of 80%. So it might be 80, it might be 83. they're guaranteeing you that that's the minimum percentage you get. We're going to use 4 paper towels today, and we don't have to get every drop of grease. We're looking to get the bulk of it. So I don't want to have any like obvious giant pools, but I don't know if you can see. There's like little rivulets still kind of coming down. It's fine. We're not going to get every drop of grease. Fat is flavor. We want a little bit in there. We just don't want our food to be greasy. And there we go. Now I'm going to turn this off. Give it one more stir. And then we're going to give this a few minutes and let it cool down so that we can freeze it, because obviously this is way too hot to be going in our Ziploc or other freezer containers right now. So here is our browned ground beef after browning it and draining it. And now we are just letting it cool so that we can freeze it and have it ready to go for spaghetti night, taco night, other busy weeknight meals that start with ground beef. While the meat was cooling, my microphone may have run out of battery and I did not notice, so now we're going to do a voiceover. I'm getting out Ziploc bags here. They're actually Kirkland brand, and taking the meat and splitting it in half, roughly in the pan, because I'm going to put these portions into 2 bags because that's the right size for my family. If you need more or less in a bag for your family, depending on how much you use, go ahead and do the portion that makes sense for your family. I'm using a scoop style spatula where the edges are kind of curved so that it is like a spoon. On these, when you're looking for them, if you don't have one yet, what you really want to look for is that it's all one piece. Once our meat is in the bags, we want to make sure that we label them with the date and the contents. The date being probably the most important part. You can also add some weight if you have an approximation, or an exact one if you're using a food scale. Either way is fine. Now, to prevent freezer burn, what we want to do is get as much air out as possible. So we're going to close the bag about 3/4 of the way, and then we're going to lay it flat on the counter and squish the air out from the bottom towards the top. Close it a little more, squish more air out, and just repeat that until your bag is all the way closed and as much air is out of that as possible. If you have a vacuum sealer, you can also use that. But honestly, this is pretty darn good. When we go to freeze them, we're going to lay them flat while they freeze. And then afterwards, you can always stack them upwards after. But if you freeze them while they're upwards, then some of the meat may sink down towards the bottom. Now we're going to do the second bag, and I'm going to reposition here so that you can see this a little bit better. But we close it about 3/4. And I'm going to show you that flat here. So we close 3/4 and then squish the air out. This is easier with 2 hands. One is holding the camera, but even then, I'm still able to get most of the air out. It's just not as pretty, and I have to redistribute a little more after. Make sure to label and date, and then next part I'm going to try and say, by the way, you're doing a really great job. I'm proud of you. Keep it up, and I'll see you next time.